Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. We're so glad you're with us this morning. Welcome to the chat session on the This Way Network. You see my co-host there, Rodney. I'm pointing the wrong direction. There we go, that way. And we have our guest, and I'm going to let Rodney introduce him because he knows it better than I do. Oh, Rodney, you're muted.
There you go. I'm here. Can you hear me? Everything good?
Yes. And I'm going to let you introduce CSI Bill because you're the one who brought him on, and you know him better than I do. Give us the scoop.
Okay, Rodney, you're on.
Oh, it sounds like Rodney can't hear me.
We've got a great show because Bill is a dear friend and colleague of the Hidden Pioneers, and I am very, very excited to have Bill with us because I've been knowing Bill for years, and I have to say, great guy doing some incredible things. And there you go. This is Bill Montgomery. There he is. He is the creator and founder of the Hidden Pioneers. Bill has been doing some incredible stuff in education, doing so many things. He is a Lifetime Achievement Award winner, was given has a presidential award for his work that he's been doing in the community, doing so many things impacting the youth all throughout Southern California. And Bill, welcome to the chat session here on the This Way Network.
Thank you for having me. And I'm ready to rock and roll and talk about some soccer.
Awesome. Bill, I have to ask, because I know everyone is wondering, what is CSI?
Good question. CSI simply stands for Common Sense Intelligence.
And I like it already.
Yes. And the high school students gave me that name about 8 years ago. I said, I'll gladly accept it. And it's been like that. And I love it.
That's fantastic. So now why did they give you that name?
Another good question, Nina. Well, they gave me that name because when I was growing up, my dad was in the military. And I have 4 sisters. And I'm the youngest and the only boy. So you know how little boys are, okay? We run around and we're always getting into trouble through that. So my dad would always say, "Where's your common sense? Use your common sense, boy." And he would call me boy, right? And so I grew up, my sisters would always say, "Where's your common sense?" And so I grew up knowing that common sense, use your common sense. And so when I started teaching in high school, I would tell the boys and the girls sometimes, use your common sense. Where's your common sense? So one day they got together and said, "Mr. Montgomery, we got a nickname for you. You always talk about common sense." And so what is it? CSI Bill. Because the kids, they'll give you a nickname, whether you like it or not. And I said, what's CSI? Common Sense Intelligence. I said, oh, I like that name. I'll take it. I've been that way ever since.
Awesome. I love that. I love that.
My dad is the one who use your common sense, boy.
So now what did your dad do?
Bill, that's important because common sense is not so common these days.
Yes. Need to ask you, my dad he was in the Marines for 22 years. He was a highly decorated Marine, and that structure was there, and that structure is still needed today. So, and it starts with common sense. And we're going to get into what's the difference between common sense and the AI, artificial intelligence, because that is soccer. And I'm glad to bring that in to kind of help with the CSI, the common sense. So I love it.
That's fantastic. And Bill, I know you showed us earlier before we got on the air that you're wearing a shirt with a NASA patch on it.
Yes. That's it right here.
Yeah. Yes. And I have to tell you, I was so happy to see that because my dad was a NASA aerospace engineer.
Ooh.
And yes.
That's
so
exciting.
I grew up with the whole NASA culture, and I'm always excited to see, a connection to NASA in some way.
Well, you're going to love it because when I tell you what NASA's doing with soccer, you're going to be blown away. So this could be a great interview. I'm excited. So You and Rodney, ask away. I'm ready.
Well, you
I
know
can't
what,
wait to hear it.
Nita, one of the things that we have, which is very, very interesting, Bill has been a educator here in the LA Unified School District and other school districts all around Southern California, really been impacting kids. And Bill came up with something and started and uncovered something that was pretty powerful. And it is called the STREAM team. And so instead of just having science, technology, Bill has thrown in the R for research and development. And then, of course, we got engineering, the arts, and math. And so we've got something called the STREAM team. And so Bill has been sharing this with the young people. It's been getting a lot of excitement. But before we dive into this, everybody, we've got some heavy duty news. Before we get into this, Bill, we're going to put you on hold for a second. We've got some major things going on here in Southern California. Do we not, Nina?
Yes, you do. And it's all over the news. And I know all our viewers are wondering the same thing I'm wondering. What is going on there? And moreover, how are the people in Los Angeles, the ones who live there and work there, how are they feeling about it?
I have to tell you, Nina, it seems very much like our president is very, very serious about this immigration. And a lot of people are feeling really nervous because the president in the beginning said that, you know, hey, we're just going to be going after hardened criminals. And everybody was okay with that. Honestly, from my standpoint, hearing just Democrat, Republican, everybody was like, okay, we understand that. The hardened criminals, yeah, nobody likes a hardened criminal. However, this whole thing has taken a huge shift. And so when ICE basically started going to schools, it really started creating a lot of fear. A lot of students who were just going to school. And again, it is honest. Yes, we know there are people who have migrated here. They've come to this country. Some have not taken care of the proper paperwork to be able to get their things straight. But yet they have assimilated and got into society. They're going to schools. And a lot of people are saying, well, that's not the way to do it. And so currently the environment is very, very on pins and needles. And things kind of hit a boiling point yesterday. And it really boiled over. And, you know, we're into day 3 of this, and a lot of people are starting to wonder what's next. How bad can this get? And actually, we got some footage. This is actual footage of what has been happening here in the city of Los Angeles, California.
Wow.
Yeah. So as you can see, it is very, very serious. And I mean,
Mhm.
that's just it was the craziest part of yesterday was that really took center stage. Los Angeles is, making its move and towards automation. And so they have these cars called Waymo that are driverless cars that are going around the city. Somehow they summons 5 of them to this one area and they attacked the vehicles, set the vehicles on
Oh
fire.
my God.
So they had 5 of these driverless cars on fire. And it was crazy. And people started talking about the environmental concerns because these things are full of lithium batteries and these things are literally melting down on fire for the whole
Mhm.
world to see. And it's just right now. So we do need some serious prayer here in the town, in not only California, but around the country, because it seems like a lot of people are really on edge about this. And that's pretty much the
Right.
story right now.
What are the rioters hoping to accomplish?
Well, I don't think it's so much the rioters. I don't think they're trying to accomplish anything as much as it is to try to see if they could stay what is currently going on and try to find a better way. Because, like I said, now in Los Angeles, ICE is actually riding around in communities, and now people are really feeling the edge because they don't, people who are not here legally are really feeling the crunch. And see, the thing about this is, yes, there are some bad people who are here. I mean, and they're not doing the things that they're supposed to do, but there are a lot of hardworking people who have come here. They have businesses, they own property, they've done a lot of different things, and they've kind of gotten a little bit situated. And some people say, well, they're not paying tax, but every time they go to a store or get gasoline, they're paying some form of a tax. So now this is going to take some serious, serious work to get this under control. And again, our president is very serious about continuing the deportations. And
Mhm.
a lot of people are saying he meant what he said. So
Mhm. Mhm.
and we have to find out where this thing is going to go. And I think that, he is standing strong and he has brought in some National Guards and is threatening to bring in actual military if things start getting worse. So hopefully,
Mhm.
again, it's going to take some serious prayer here. So that's what we
Mhm.
need.
I think the big question I have in my mind, and probably a lot of other people do too, is if the people, even the hardworking ones who were there, and they, like you said, they've got jobs, they bought property, etc. If they're undocumented, how does the government vet them? How do they distinguish between the ones who aren't criminals and the ones who are when they know nothing about them, basically?
Well, that's a good thing. You're absolutely right. And so they are doing some serious work now because now really the pressure is on and people are starting to realize that this is not something that's going to go away, that the president is very serious about this. And now, you know, what we're hoping for is this there's not a lot of property damage, loss of life, because now it has to be really looked at because if the military rolls in, they're not going to be playing around. And if somebody points something at people, a matter of fact,
Mhm.
there's a huge story running on CNN. There was a reporter from the UK here, a woman, and she was reporting and saying, well, they're firing rubber bullets. You can hear them firing. And you see this officer that is clearly in the frame behind her, and he just points and shoots and hits her in the back of the leg on camera.
Ooh.
And so she starts screaming in pain and runs off. But the whole thing is, you see this guy, and it was like he saw her. He was panning the the crowd, and he shot her. I mean, he shot her right on camera, live.
Mhm.
So, and they say that these non-lethal bullets are lethal. They say if these things hit you in the head, it can kill you. Many people have lost
Mhm.
and it is like a very powerful punch. These bullets, they might not go in you, but the impact that it hits you could kill you. And so
Mhm.
the people have to know to either A, if you're demonstrating, you better keep it peaceful because they are pushing the crowds back, and now there's a lot of throwing. People were throwing
Mhm.
rocks, police, and they were on the freeway. And so the police tonight, they don't take it lightly if you throw any type of projectile, firework,
Mhm.
anything
Mhm.
towards them, they're gonna respond. So it's
I
very
think that, yeah, I think that's one of the things that, in the rest of the country we're most concerned about. We don't want to see anyone get hurt.
right.
Um, and we keep hearing it's a peaceful protest, and yet we're seeing windows being broken in the LAPD headquarters. We're seeing cars being set on fire. And I
Yeah.
think I saw something in the news this morning about
Mhm.
there were policemen on horses and they were firing fireworks at the horses. And there's a lot of stuff happening that, to borrow Bill's phrase there, is not common sense, is not good sense.
So let's
It looks like there are elements in the crowd that are trying to escalate and cause something to happen.
that is actually true. And so we're gonna have probably part two because by next week there's gonna be a lot more reporting and I have photographer friends who are actually on the ground and they are
Mhm.
actually independent photographers and taking pictures. Me personally, I decided to stay safe. I did
Mhm.
not want to get out into the throes of this, but there are people who are skilled enough and there's mainstream media out here that's doing this. But on to a brighter note, we got CSI Bill here. And Bill, again, Bill is a lifetime achievement award winner. He was awarded this by the president. And we're very excited about it because Bill has had over 2,500 hours of volunteerism helping young people and communities with things. And Bill, it's pretty incredible what you've been doing, and this new thing that you have shared with me is how NASA actually is starting to affect soccer. Talk about it.
Well, as you know, transportation and technology and research is
Hmm.
in everything. It's in all sports, not just soccer. It just so happened that Adidas, I think you know the brand Adidas, Nina, they went to NASA, okay, to basically this behind me here. If you see this, okay, this
Mhm.
ball here, this is a custom ball um, that I'm very proud of. So Adidas went to NASA and they put these Adidas balls into a miniature wind tunnel, Nina, to make sure that the ball travels the right circums to avoid they call it the knuckleball. That when you
Mhm.
used to kick it, it would curve and things like that because
Mhm.
it wasn't,
Mhm.
correct, right. So a lot of people don't know that Adidas collaborated with NASA, and now they have a perfect ball that they can use. So that changed the game. Okay, and so I'm very
Wow.
excited about that because my relationship with NASA, and of course my cousin who helped with the trajectory, and it's math,
Mhm.
science in there. So
Mhm.
NASA, when you need something, like I tell people, you can go to NASA and you can get more information on NASA.gov, the website,
Mhm.
which a
Mhm.
lot of people aren't doing, and they should do. And the soccer is going to help explain that and tell more people, all different countries, about NASA. Um, and so I'm excited to bring stream soccer, okay, to the world, not just the United States, but the whole world, because that
Mhm.
research that's what NASA does. They're basically a research organization, and they might be thinking about really kind of helping the hidden pioneers really explain that, because when I was in the schools, I was attempting to explain what NASA is, why they do things, how they do it, but it was, I needed more support. I needed more help. And when the Lord had me put the research in the stream, that seems to be working just fine. They can understand that more. It rhymes with STEM,
Right.
right?
Right.
And it's the truth. NASA is a research organization.
Right.
So I
It's
know,
very true.
yes, and I know we're on to something. The kids understand it. The parents understand it more. The teachers, the administration. So I've been playing the sport. It's the largest sport in the world. I'm not sure if you knew that, Nina. A lot of people don't know that.
I did. Yes, I did. And I
it's-
know my grandkids love it.
That's great. Okay.
Yeah.
Have your
Bill,
grandkids.
and Bill's being kind of modest because he was a semi-pro player himself. So Bill didn't want to let that out of the bag.
Yes. Again, I like when people ask me that question, because sometimes you forget about what you've done, and sometimes what you're doing, because it's common sense, for me, to pay attention to what's going on, do research without even knowing you might be doing research, and that common sense, part of it. And then the Lord, he will, do your best and let him do the rest. So we have something today, Stream Soccer, and speaking of the president and the administration, okay, he's a big soccer person. His son plays, Barron, and the grandson, and Ivanka. Just the other day, she drawed one of the country's soccer team, because they're going to be coming here in July. There's actually 2 World Cup per se type of organization with FIFA. They're bringing these countries in July of this year, and they're gonna go to 8 different cities, Cincinnati being one of them. That's where I'm from, Nina. That's my hometown, Cincinnati, Ohio. You ever been there?
Oh, I have. I actually, my dad was there working for ABCO before he came to NASA. So I actually learned to talk in Cincinnati.
Wow, that's, you know what? That is amazing. You never know who you're gonna meet, and these signs just keep coming. I didn't know your involvement with NASA, and now here we are. That's where you learn to talk in Cincinnati. That's good. That's why you have common sense.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah. So back to what Rodney was saying, I started at 7 years old, and I learned from a family. Speaking of, the different cultures and the different countries, I actually learned how to play soccer from a Russian family across the street in 11629 Hinckley Drive, Forest Park, Ohio, 95240. I remember like it was yesterday.
Wow.
And this Russian family, they had 3 boys, okay, and my dad, back in the day, dads would just go across the street, not even know who's who, knock on the door, hey, welcome to the neighborhood, I saw you have a couple boys here. Well, my son Billy over there, he'd like to play with your sons. I mean, these are the things that we should be able to go back to, and
I miss those days.
Yes, that's common sense. My dad says, okay, here, got a son, this neighbor, he's got 3 sons, they should play together. So, and that's what happened. And they played soccer, and I got introduced to soccer, fell in love with it. They helped mentor me at a very young age, and I went into high school, elevated my game, played there very good, and then actually our team was really good. We came in second in the state of Ohio. Yep, I think Centerville beat us 2-1, and we came in second. I'm never going to forget that, because you always want to win. But
of course.
You always want to win, but I'm okay with second or third, as long as I'm on the podium. Okay, first through third. So
And you played your best.
yes, I did. I played my
Yeah.
best, and people liked me and liked them, and I was able to travel even in the eighth, ninth, and all through high school. I traveled to different states. I went to Kansas. I even went to Canada twice at a young age, and guess what brought me there? Soccer. Okay, transportation. I didn't know about the technology piece back then. Okay, but I certainly knew that I was being transported to places, and I loved it. So I was meeting people at a very young age, different nationalities, and that's really what helped me understand that people are people. Okay, treat them with respect, treat them right. Okay, and they will in turn treat you right. Okay,
Right.
so this is what we need to do. We kind of need to go back to the basics as adults. Okay, as you know, Nina, adults sometimes we don't like to go back, and how can we expect our children to go back to the basics? So, with this stream soccer, I'm very excited because this allows me to explain things from science, technology, research, engineering, arts, and math, which is the push from the administration. Um, and a lot of people don't know this, but STEM in 2009, Barack Obama brought it into the education system in 2009. And guess what else he brought with that? He bought a whole bunch of funding and dollars. Now, one of the things, what happened, I'm going to set the record and let everybody know, is that when a president comes in, he or she, well, I can't say she because it hasn't been one yet. So, but he has his own kind of like agenda, something that he wants to make happen. Maybe it's his legacy, whatever his thought is, and he will push Congress to get something approved. And that's like a stamp. Well, Obama, he did that with STEM. Okay. Now, what people don't understand, and it took me a while to understand, is that even though the Congress can approve something, which might take a year, 2, 3 years, we don't know. If something else, if you don't have a backup plan and you don't have someone else to drive that agenda that you had, you might end up when something changes. Let's just say, for example, a war happens or something else. Well, that thing that you put your hat on that you loved, it might fall second tier or third tier, or maybe just stop. So that's what happened with the STEM initiative. And so it didn't make it down to the grassroots, you see. So therefore, a lot of people, more specifically the Black and the Brown community, I did the research. They were thinking that STEM was not for them. It was for the elite, the Harvard or the Yale people. And this is true even till now. Now more and more people are starting to know what. But what happened? Am I here? What happened?